Back in the 90s, the NBA was a very different place. There were less teams, the league wasn't as big internationally as it is today, and defensive play was far more important. But in the 95-96 season, the 50th season in NBA history, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls achieved an almighty feat as they went 72-10 in the regular season on their way to their fourth title of the decade. This was also start a run of 3 consecutive title wins for the second time in the 90s. For a long time, people believed that this team's record could not be beaten. That was until the 15-16 Golden State Warriors won 73 games in the regular season but failed to win the NBA championship. This possibly solidified the 95-96 Bulls as one of the greatest teams ever assembled. However, some people have their doubts. Some people believe with the evolution of X's and O's, the dominance of offensive basketball, and the rule changes affecting the defensive side of the sport, would mean that teams from the past would struggle to compete in the modern NBA, and that got me thinking. Could the 95-96 Bulls win a championship in today's NBA? Of course, this would be impossible in real life. But thanks to sports gaming, we can run a little experiment. And so today, I get to figure out the answer to the question, what would happen if the 95-96 Bulls were in today's NBA? Alrighty, so we've got our experiment set up here. The 95-96 Bulls have replaced the modern day Bulls for this. And obviously this is a video game. We're not really going to get a true outcome of this, but I'm sure we're going to have a little bit of fun to see what the game gives us in this simulation here. So we have the 95-96 Bulls in the modern day era. It's still 30 teams, as I said. They replaced the modern day Bulls. And I don't think this team needs much of an introduction. We know what they have, the trio of Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman. But they do have some good role players as well, such as co-coach Ron Harper and Steve Kerr to look for as well. So they'll probably win or be close to it in this experiment. Alright, without much further ado, let's get simulating here. We're going to do a quick simulation here and fast forward it. So here we go. Alright, so we're at the All-Star Draft. I just want to see if any of the Bulls became All-Stars. And as you can see, Michael Jordan is one of the captains. So we're going to auto-draft here. And Scottie Pippen seems to be the only other Chicago Bull from the team that became an All-Star here. Yep, none other. Rodman didn't make it, but I'm sure he's having a decent season. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan are the only two All-Stars from our team. In terms of the standings, the Celtics are on top, while 95-96 Bulls are 9 games behind them in the 5th seed. On the other side, the Pelicans are currently leading, and the Lakers are up there too. That's a little bit of a shock, though they did bring in a lot of good players at the trade deadline. They're definitely performing better, so maybe if they had a full season with them, they might be higher in the standings. But now in terms of our players, Pippen's been hurt a bit this season. As you can see, he does have 22.6 points, 7.9 rebounds, 7.5 assists. Jordan obviously leading the team with 32.6 points, but Pippen's been hurt a bit, so that's obviously going to affect our standings here. And in terms of where we are, Jordan leads the league in points per game. Doncic also has been injured for the Mavs, so obviously that's going to hurt them as well. Jason Tatum's been very good this year. Rodman leads the league in rebounds, so he's definitely doing his job on this team. And assists, it's Harden. Michael Jordan's top 3 in steals, so he's having an MVP type season. Jordan, maybe he'll get the MVP. We'll have to wait and see. But we have to get back to our simulation, so let's quickly go through the final games until we hit the end of the season. Alright, so here we go. We've got our players. Here are the award winners. Jordan did not win MVP. That was Jason Tatum, who had a very good season. So they are the awards that you can see. He did have a very good season, to be fair, Tatum. A very, very good season. In terms of our All-NBA teams, no Chicago Bull player in the first team. Ja and Luka, Tatum and James are the forward duo. We're waiting to see one of them. There's Scottie Pippen. He's in the second team. And Jordan still's not anywhere to be seen here. A little bit surprised by that. Did he even make an All-NBA team? A little bit shocked if he didn't. He did. He made the third team All-NBA. I think 2K did him dirty there with his ratings. Here they are. Yeah, that's an MVP caliber type of season. 32.3 points per game. Though he's not really averaging much in terms of rebounds or assists, though he did have a lot of steals, 2.3, so he did it on both ends of the floor. 2K might have snubbed him there. In terms of the standings, we actually finished in 4th seed, so we will face the Atlanta Hawks, who had the same record as we did. And so here we go. Let's simulate the play-in. New York and Cleveland got in on the East. Phoenix and the Clippers got in on the West. So we now get to the first round of the East. I do know that Jordan got into the he wasn't one of the all-defense teams, and we beat the Atlanta Hawks in a 7-game series. Boston got through as well. They also went through a 7-game series. In the final game there, Trae Young didn't have his greatest game, with 18 points in 29 minutes. Michael Jordan had 28 and 36. See if we can continue our run here. This is going to be a tough game with the MVP in this game. And they've been eliminated. The Boston Celtics have eliminated us. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown going for 65 points in the final game. Another 7-game series. So, the Chicago Bulls failed to win a championship. They were competitive, no doubt about it, but I thought they would have gone a little bit further. Boston's a good team, no doubt. They did go on to win the championship, Jason Tatum winning the MVP, so looks like they failed. So, in the simulation, the Bulls lost to the Celtics, the eventual champions, in the semifinals of the Eastern Conference playoffs. So, obviously, it means the 95-96 Bulls couldn't win a title in today's era, right? I mean, they didn't even make it to the Eastern Conference finals, not to mind the NBA finals. However, I didn't just run one simulation of this season. I ran it twice, as I wanted to know would a second one give a similar outcome, or would it be different. The second time around, Scottie Pippen stayed healthy. The Bulls were the first seed in the East, and they didn't just win the title, they won it in dominant fashion, losing only once in the playoffs to the Atlanta Hawks on their way to the NBA title. I understand this is a video game, and of course we can never really get a true answer to this question, and if you look at some of these results, you see some of the unrealistic outcomes these simulations can bring. However, I do think there is something to take away from this experiment. I think it shows us that there's a reason sports aren't played on paper. We all have our favourites to win a title, and although the majority of the time these teams get to the finals at least, but sometimes teams like the 2019 Raptors and the 2022 Warriors go on to win the title, despite the fans, the media, or both writing them off. So I think we need to think more about some of the teams of the past. Just because of how the NBA has changed doesn't mean certain players could not compete. I mean, what if MJ, Scottie, Rodman, Kukoc, and Steve Kerr were drafted into the 2000s? How would that change how we perceive them? We could be debating who's the better shooter, Steve Kerr or Steph Curry. Seems Kerr would probably be shooting more threes in the modern era. The GOAT debate between LeBron and MJ would be a lot easier to answer, as they would have faced each other numerous times over the years. We also might be debating Pippen versus Kawhi, Rodman versus Draymond, and maybe even Kukoc versus Tyler Hero. I think what I got from this experiment is that great teams and great players can compete in any era. Maybe they wouldn't be as successful, maybe they would be more successful. We'll never really know. However, I do know they would compete because great players would be great in any era of basketball. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more sports gaming experiments like this, please like and subscribe. I'd like to make these into their own series, trying to answer sports' greatest debates and what ifs. You can also let me know your thoughts on today's experiment in the comments below. I also have plans of doing a My League franchise in NBA 2K at some point too, so let me know who you'd like me to try and rebuild. I'd also like to bring MLB The Show and college football dynasties to the channel as well, so keep an eye out for them. Until then, peace out guys, I'll see you in the next one, and have a great day.